in the desert.
All right, how is everybody doing out there? This is the premiere of Land Between Two Rivers on WebDM Twitch channel. I am your host and dungeon master, Jim Davis. This is a first time hosting one of these for me, and I really didn't think about it until just now. So let's go ahead and take it to the players, and we'll start with TK. TK, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us who you're going to be playing tonight?
Yeah, I'm TK, and I'm going to be playing Icky, who is the lizard folk ranger. She is hungry, and that pretty much sums up the rest of it. She's hungry and spooky, just like me.
That's great. Josh.
Josh is playing Baloo. I use the third person there. Josh is playing Baloo, the bugbear druid. He's also a warden of the Fellowship of Andrus. He's a big galoot. He's like 7'3", 300 pounds of fun, and also sleeping. He likes to sleep.
Anna.
Hello, I'm Anna, and I'm going to be playing Ellie. She is a variant human barbarian. Ooh.
Hey.
And she was actually created by a wizard, because there are no more humans here.
Yes, we'll get into that here in just a moment, because Ellie is turns quite a few heads, as we'll see here in just a minute. Grant, how are you doing tonight?
Now, first of all, Jim Davis, I'd like to thank the many fans throughout the world that have tuned in tonight on WebDM. Second, I'd like to thank you for stepping up behind the DM shield to take on the D&D bad boy. And for all these fine folks to join me on this mission. Jim, you know me, I'm doing fine. I'm playing Gildan the guy. I've been watching a lot of Dusty Roads, The American Dream this week. And, yeah, working for the man. So I will be playing a goblin cleric who is looking forward to doctrinal debates with Baloo, the bugbear druid.
Yes. And Lindy, how are you tonight?
I am doing super spiffy, so hyped for this campaign. I've been counting down the days and hours. I'm just so ready. I will be playing Mer Valentine, Tiefling Bard Extraordinaire. More well known for her nighttime business, wink wink, than her, working for the Wardens with Baloo. But she is a very charismatic and charming individual with maybe a little bit of a darker side that will be revealed over time.
Oh yeah,
excellent. And as we sort of travel to this faraway world, this desolate world that has been ravaged by magic and warfare and conflict, I'd like to kind of set the scene for everyone. This is a campaign that is near and dear to my heart, and as a result of several other campaigns that have led us to this point where the world is a dying place. The world was once a beautiful place. The ancients had many names for it. None survived the freezing darkness or the cataclysmic war that followed. Much was forgotten in that time. Terrible weapons of war brought civilization to its knees. The great civilizations of the elves, dwarves, and humanity fled, and left behind a devastated world to the forgotten, the outcasts, and the lost. So this is a world, at the moment, no one really knows the name of it. No one has a word for it. They just call it the world, the earth. It is largely a desert filled with reality-frayed wastelands and where magic sort of runs amok. There are no more great civilizations as far as anyone knows. Most people live in small, isolated villages distrustful of strangers. In the particular setting that we're starting in, the Land Between Two Rivers, an organization of druids and nature priests keeps the peace, as it were, and makes sure that raiders and monsters from the wasteland are kept at bay, and that some semblance of peace and stability can be maintained. They do that by severely restricting the use of arcane magic within their lands, and the wardens, who are members of this fellowship, patrol its borders and its villages, hunting down magic users or those that would use arcane magic for really any nefarious end, but also just to kick them out. Those people are often offered the choice of ceasing to practice their magic and live peacefully but under the watchful eye of the Lords, or are kicked out, driven into exile from the land. At worst, they are put to death. Those that fight back certainly are attacked and assaulted by the wardens. So this is the land that we find ourselves in. There's a large town here, Tradetown as it's called, just south along the river. The environment here is mostly desert. 2 rivers, the Horn and the Hound, meet, and where they meet, the Druids had planted a great tree, which is where they call their headquarters. South of that is Tradetown, where all manner of orcs and hobgoblins, goblins, kobolds, lizard folk, drow, and the plain-touched congregate, meet, and they're there to do business and eke out a survival in this land. Today is market day. All manner of vagabonds and wasteland wanderers have wandered in to sell their wares, to purchase the goods that they need, to trade news and stories, and to enjoy a brief bit of camaraderie and celebration before heading back out to the parts of the wasteland where they dwell to go about their survival. The drow delegation from up the River Horn has just set up their first building in town. That's cause for some celebration, and there are a great many drow traders and diplomats within the city at the moment. I'd like to kind of get a feel from all the players. What are your characters doing around Tradetown today? What do they set out to do? Let's go ahead, unless somebody has something that immediately jumps at them, I will call on somebody.
I think Ellie is, this is her first time ever leaving Anders and his home, or their home. So she really has no idea at all what any of this is. So everything is very new to her. So
give us an idea. Ellie has grown up in isolation with this wizard who basically, grew her in a vat?
Yeah, basically. Imagine a scientist but a wizard just fucking around, and he just has this craving of bringing humans back and maybe avenging somebody. Foreshadowing. So he, after many tries and experiments, he finally made Ellie, and she's growing up to be an okay human. She doesn't really know she's a barbarian yet, so we'll find out.
Found that in her yet. So Ellie turns quite a bit of heads. Like I said, most people here, the orcs, the hobgoblins, other goblinoids, kobolds and such, it's been centuries since anyone's seen a human. And so Ellie's entry into Tradetown, particularly depending on what you're wearing, if you're not trying to hide yourself or anything.
She definitely has a hood on and some kind of leather armor. I think I did put scale mail, but it's fine. But she definitely has a hood on, and she's just kind of she's not trying too much to hide who she is because she doesn't know that she's different.
Gotcha.
But she'll definitely be like, whoa, and her hood will kind of cover her eyes a little bit. She'll pull it back, and then she's just so amazed by this world and maybe a little bit scared of some people of how they look, because they look very intimidating.
There's the people in your immediate vicinity certainly take notice of you. There's a gaggle of kobolds that sort of look up and in confusion and perhaps a bit of disgust, and heads turn. But we're gonna fade to someone else here real quick and figure out what happens to Ellie here in a minute. What is Baloo up to on this market day?
Baloo is escorting Ellie. If I believe.
So yes, correct. So Baloo at some point is called in. Let's say that you're basically your supervisor, your superior, one of the wardens, Davati, an orcish woman who's sort of takes her job very seriously and often comes into conflict with Baloo. approaches you at some point that we found someone wandered in out of the wastes, and I need you and Mir to escort her to the hierophant and figure out what it is, what she is. I haven't seen anything like this. Blue, I need you to take this very seriously and no slacking off this time.
Do I have to do it now?
Yes, right now. She's
Okay.
several of the merchants in the stalls they're talking to her, and I just don't want things to get too out of hand.
Okay. Sure. I'll go see. Yeah. Sure. It's
Okay.
fine. In which case, Baloo would go and seek her out. I'm sure it'd be really easy. Follow the gazes and the gasps.
Okay, so you don't go approach Mir first. You go directly to where the merchants have taken Ellie.
Well, Mir, where would you be right now? Would you say?
She'd probably be skulking about the marketplace a little bit, looking for intriguing items. It's a shopping day. She's also shopping for potential customers.
Oh,
And
okay.
she's probably she's got like her horns are all jeweled up, some perfume on, a little like sheer face veil covering her.
Oh, nice. Okay, then yeah, he'd be on the lookout for her because they're partners. They're partners in crime, or not crime,
Or not anti-crime.
anti-crime.
So you go and look. Baloo goes and looks for Mir, and so the market itself is a large open air market. It's dominated by a central sort of tent ring, which you can smell all different kinds of desert, basically wasteland meats being grilled. There's flatbreads and spiced crickets and things like that that people are cooking under the central tent, and then an
I've
outer
already
ring
bought some food.
of stalls. Yes, exactly. Crunchy crickets, spicy cactus,
yeah.
kebabs, that kind of thing.
Prickly pears.
Right, prickly pears. Iki and Gildan are also present in the market, and you can make me DC 10 perception checks to see if you notice the commotion that's going on, or rather when you start noticing the commotion.
That is a 2.
So you're occupied.
Very hungry.
How about Gildan?
I got a 6.
A 6. So you guys, you'll have to give me an idea of what it is that you're doing as Ellie's drawing heads and 2 wardens are approaching her.
Gildan is strolling about the market with a saucer, and on it is what would be the equivalent of an armadillo casserole, weasel kebabs, desert weasel kebabs, and fried scorpions on a stick, and he is singing a merry, jaunty tune, trying to entice children and merchants to try the delights, and he is willing to trade the food for a good story.
Gotcha. So yeah, there's a bunch of like goblin children following you around, and others besides, like kobolds, and if you've got treats on offer, there's probably a large crowd around you that's distracting you.
Excellent.
How about Iki?
Icky is heatedly haggling with a merchant right now over trading some manner of trinkets that they have found on their escapades through the desert. Mostly tooth necklaces, an assortment of ears, a couple of tusks that they found with some polished stones inside of them. Not getting a great deal for it.
No, the scrap buyers are, the ears they just don't know what to do with. The tusks they might be able to take, but they're being a little stingy. It's an intense haggle, let's say.
It's very intense.
So the marketplace is packed today. All manner of people from the wasteland and the hinterlands where the villages under the control of the Fellowship are are in Market Town. The population of Tradetown, the population of it basically doubles on market days, and you can see merchants riding by with caravans of giant desert lizards that their cargo has come in on. Great big tall sand striders stalk through the streets on their way towards the perches where their riders will dismount and participate in the festivities and the commerce. Ellie, you're surrounded by about 5 or 6 orcs, hobgoblins, half orcs, and they're keeping they're not like getting up in your face, but they're asking you a lot of questions. Where'd you come in from? Are you okay? Is there something wrong with you? That kind of thing.
Well, I just came from that way. Like, I don't really want to reveal where I actually came from, because Anne was like, don't blow it up. Don't blow it. Don't blow my cover.
So you're trying to, like, what, stall?
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was that way, or no. Maybe it was this way. I just came here to explore. I heard you guys had great food.
Yeah. It's about this time that Baloo and Mir show up. You see a tall, 7-foot, red-haired bugbear and a charcoal-skinned, white-haired demon, maybe. Your first impression, I guess. I don't know. So Mir and Baloo have arrived and see Ellie surrounded by this group of merchants who are just kind of asking her questions, and they're not like I said, they're not up in her face, but they've basically surrounded her.
Yeah, Baloo will flash his badge like a lazy cop. Just like can't see it. He just holds it up, puts it back in his robe.
Okay.
Yeah, Mura's gonna be like, people, are we selling goods or interrogating people? What are you, the wardens? No.
We're just trying to figure out what she's got. Look at her. There must be something wrong with her, right?
There's something wrong with me? Do I have something on my face?
You don't look right. Are you okay?
Well, then, are you trying to sell her medicine? Why are you harassing potential clientele of the market? It is not good for business.
They kind of like,
Look,
right.
and you are all away from your stalls. People could be robbing you behind your backs and you wouldn't even notice.
Yeah, there's a large gathering of children nearby that are, those of them that can't get to the treats on offer are getting little sticky fingers elsewhere.
Now, darling, please, if you would come with us, we could get you away from all this hubbub.
Hubbub, sure?
Yeah.
That's,
And
okay.
Mura's just gonna kind of link arms with her and kind of just like escort her away. Like, oh, this is like, come on, this is mine now. Let's go.
Yeah, Ellie will probably just kind of stare at her for a little too long, like, whoa.
Yeah, and I think Baloo would lead the way and use his giant bugbear arms to kind of like push people out of the way and be like, nothing to see here, come on.
You can, as you push your way through the crowd that's gathered, you notice that an old debating partner, Gildan, is at the center of this crowd, trading stories for treats.
Okay, yeah. I think Baloo would just stop what he's doing and go, hey, my heretical friend.
I was muted. I kind of dart him a glance, and then I just lock my eyes to his eyes, and I slide a weasel kebab into my mouth, and then suck it in whole. The whole thing goes straight down, no chewing, kind of like a duck. And then
I think I'd actually respect you for that.
Mur respects you for that as well.
Good.
And I start making my way over to him, and I leave the treats: the armadillo casserole, the scorpion sundaes, the weasel kebabs, and the sauce. I'm like, enough of tails.
Bring them.
We're gonna do this right here. All right, I pick the sauce wrap and gather around, children. I'm gonna show you how we take Druid to school. I kind of goblin my way up to him and look up. I'm about 3 feet tall and 35 pounds. He's a good 7 feet. I look right at him and just stare.
Everyone, there's a big crowd that's kind of gathered now, and Icky, you can even it's enough that that even you notice that there's a big crowd that's gathered in the middle of the market.
And I stare right up at him and I go, "So tell me, Brother Baloo, the walker of the ways, why does the sun come up each day?"
Man, I don't know. All I know is that sometimes, you're sleeping in and it hits you and it just feels so good. I can only assume that it's some intelligent creature trying to teach us a lesson about love, and also it's time to get up. Also waking up. Yeah.
Would you say the sun creature is wiser than the moon creature?
Definitely.
Are you saying all those here that worship the moon are lesser than those that worship the sun? And some of the goblins may be taking note of this. I don't know if they worship the moon or not, but I'm gambling.
There are a lot of folk beliefs around here. The fellowship is fairly.
Oh no, they're gonna run me out of town.
Some of them are quite diehard. They're like, everything has a spirit kind of animists. But
which is pretty much what Blue is.
But on market day, there's an eclectic group of beliefs and opinions on theology.
Yeah, Blue would pretty much respond with, "Nah, man, the moon's great too."
I'm sort of becoming frustrated as he doesn't fall directly into a hypothetical trap. And I look him up and down and say, "I remind you, Baloo, that law cannot reach where enforcement will not follow. What brings you to market today? Is Ellie still near him?"
Yeah,
I see.
Both Ellie and Mir are there.
I look back up to him. I go, "What happened to your tall, sick goblin? What ails her?" I go up and try to size up her disease, her ailment. I mean, she doesn't necessarily have one. I just haven't seen something like her.
Yeah.
Hello. I look down at him. He's very small. Ellie's about 6 feet.
I motion for you to kneel down and come down to my level. I'm having a hard time hearing.
Mer's just kind of face palming. She's like, how did this escalate to this?
I reach.
Go
ahead.
I was gonna say real quick, the merchants that Icky is haggling with are momentarily distracted as a group of children make off with a bunch of their goods.
I'm feeling up. Well, that's not the right terminology. I place my hands on her cheeks, kind of look deep into her eyes. Have I ever seen a creature like this before? I'm trying to size her up and down. Sniff her. Does she have a familiar scent?
Yeah, she's pretty weird.
There are, thank you. There are ancient half-orcs who still have some human heritage in them. I think, given Gildan's knowledge of like medicine, he might recognize some of those features in Ellie.
You are one of the old ones.
I think I'm only 18 years old, but maybe that's old for you guys.
For goblins, yes, goblins are brief-lived creatures, usually passing away long before their times, but Gildan sees. What brings you to market day?
Mostly just exploring the area. And I pat you on the head, very awkwardly. Are you? And how old are you? About 10?
37.
That's a lot of years.
Oh.
It's not that many. Not really.
It's look, do I have to cut you open and count the rings to figure out how old you are?
Oh,
The
me?
rings?
Like with a tree.
Oh.
We don't have many of those.
Well, if that's... I'm pretty sure I'm 18 years old. I don't think you necessarily need to do that, but if you want to...
Where did you come from?
I don't remember.
Baloo, your goblin is broken. You must have it fixed.
I don't think she's a goblin, man.
Here, I offer her some of the armadillo casserole, and Baloo, I hand him some weasel kebabs, because even though we kind of come off as a little abrasive, this is just how we say hello.
Yeah. Yeah,
Gotcha.
Earlier when I was eating just a minute ago, that was in character. Every time I do
see.
something disgusting and eat something on camera, it's in
That's great.
It sticks in the beard.
Yeah.
You're really blurring the lines there.
Yeah.
So as this exchange has gone on, and it's the little pickpockets along the periphery of the crowd have started to do their work. Everyone, both Mir and Baloo, at least, because they recognize her, can see Dadvi walking across the empty spaces between the stalls with sort of a scowl on her face. And then everyone else just sees an angry-looking orcish warden approaching the crowd. All right, let's break it up. Come on now, Baloo. I can see you in there. Come on. Use those big arms of yours to break up this crowd and get...
Yeah. Mer still has her arm around Ellie's waist, because she's, not that tall, so it's more like a casual.
Dadvi nods at Mer and gives her kind of a look of not this again, and and helps Baloo break up the crowd.
Yeah. We were bringing her. I got distracted by my friend, and then, somebody give me some food. What's the rush?
Well, Baloo, the rush is that we don't know who, and at this point she turns to Ellie, who you are. We have someone that we'd like for you to talk to. You're not in any trouble. We just, you've drawn already quite a bit of disturbance. So, if you
I'm
would
really
please.
sorry. I didn't mean to do that. People were just staring, and I think maybe I had something on my face.
I don't think so. Come with me, and Dadvi then leads y'all across the market to where the fellowship sort of maintains an enclave within Tradetown. It's an open air garden near the river, and it's sort of compared to the hubbub and jostling and crowds of the market. It's much more serene and quiet place that they have there. For anyone there's sort of a small crowd that follows you, onlookers, mostly children, and those people in the market who aren't there to do business. But you have drawn a crowd of about 20 or so people that are standing at the edge of the gardens, respectful distance away, but definitely trying to get a good look. And it's Baloo, Mir, and Ellie are walking through the gardens then.
Right.
So, what is your name?
My name is Ellie.
It is a pleasure to meet you. I am Mer Valentine, and this is my compatriot, Baloo.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
As you walk through, you see that Dadvi has gone up ahead and is talking to the hierophant that's here, the head priest here. He is an orc named Orduk, a compassionate man, to be, but also one of the old school fellowship people, one of the ones who's very hardline on, say, magic use and making sure that everything is nice and stable within the land. Yeah. So he's seated just on a bench and motions over to the three of you to come here.
Do so.
Okay.
Do so with style.
I do so with 0 style.
0 style. He is like I said, an old, one of the older orcs that's here. Sitting down, he's got sort of an old staff, one of the first ones cut from the trees that grew around here. He looks Ellie up and down and spends a long time just studying your face, and before he finally speaks. Can you tell me, do you know how you came to be here?
Well, I woke up in a forest, I think, and then I saw the town, and I just decided to walk here.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't remember anything before that?
Nope.
I see. Well, let me explain something to you. Perhaps it will help you understand the reaction that you caused in the market. You are a human, correct? Is that what you understand yourself to be?
I think I've heard that word before, but yes, I'm gonna say yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with that.
No one here has seen any one of your kind ever. It's barely remembered in those people who are learned and study those things.
What happened? It's just like I'm the first one to come here, or
there used to be humans, but the last as we understand it, you were all driven to extinction or fled in a great calamitous war long ago. Like I said, it's been quite some time since anyone has heard anything about a human, and so you can understand it's going to cause a reaction.
Well, I didn't want to mess up with whatever plans you had. It was the only logical reason, to come here and maybe grab some food because I'm really hungry, even though that armadillo soup or thing looked kind of delicious, but probably not my style. But I mean, beggars can't be choosers. At least that's what somebody told me once.
Who told you that?
I don't know. Come to think of it, I think the only thing I remember is the forest and my name, and that's it.
Go ahead and have Ellie make me a deception check.
Sure. Can Mer make an insight check?
Yes. Yeah, so can Baloo.
Yeah.
I got a 6.
Okay.
No. Blue is paying attention to food since she mentioned food. So
Mer got an 18.
All right. So, yeah, there's something off about Ellie's story. And for a brief moment, Orduk catches Mer's eye. And, they exchange a knowing glance for a second. Well, all are welcome in Tradetown. We have only a few rules. You don't practice magic, do you? Of the arcane or occult kind?
I don't think so, unless you guys, and then she pulls out her great axe, unless you guys call this magic, which...
No, you'll find that there are a great many uses for tools such as that around Tradetown, but the use and practice of occult or arcane magic is forbidden here. Natural magics or magics that are connected to the land are permitted, should you know them. The only other thing we ask is that you do not shed blood when you are within our lands. Any disputes you might have, you should settle either in the wastelands or through non-violent means. Otherwise, you are welcome here. I should ask, though, that Mir and Baloo escort you for a time to make sure that you're not bothered.
Sure, I mean, maybe... Do you guys really want to grab some food, though? Because I'm hungry.
yes.
And
We can get food.
maybe
course.
we could become friends. I don't know. I think that's a thing.
If you like food, yeah.
Yes, I love food.
Okay, all right.
I see this going very well.
As you guys begin to talk of food and perhaps what your next moves are, Orkton approaches Mir, gets up from the bench that he was sitting on, and would you walk with me for a moment? I have
But of course.
another matter to discuss.
Yes. And she will kind of flow over with him. Her very thin, kind of veil-y garments are blowing in whatever breeze is going on.
There's a nice breeze coming in off the water. It's pleasant here in the garden. The druids tend it well. And you walk amongst the trees and bushes of the garden. I'm not sure if you were aware of this, but several days ago, north of the city, along the Horn River, a portal opened. There were panicked reports from some of the northern villages that concerned about the proximity of a portal so close to our home. I'm curious if you've heard anything about it in your wanderings, or if you know anything. We sent some people out to investigate it, but they have not returned yet.
I may have heard a thing or two about a portal opening to the northeast as well. Yes. Its proximity is unusually close, I might say, comparative to normal portals that open in the wastelands.
I'm curious if our new guest might be connected to it in some way.
I do not believe so. I believe the portal is of a different nature.
Well, I was hoping to be able to trust your instincts on this. It might be that if we do not hear back from the people we sent to investigate, that we might have to go looking for them. So keep an ear to the ground, would you?
Oh, but of course, I always do.
And he chit-chats as he walks back to the group. How about everybody else? What have Icky and Gildan been doing during all this?
I will let Icky speak for our shenanigans.
Well, while there was a huge crowd and everything, Icky did consider trying to catch one of the children, one of them that looked particularly urchinish. Just too darn fast. But next time. Next time. And I assume Gildan has returned to give some sort of report as to what's going on.
Yes, I want to make Icky aware that I have seen a tall, oddly skinned goblin that's as tall as an ogre, perhaps taller. I'm not very good with heights. And strange, confused, seems to be connected to the old ones. Perhaps of a royal line. I'm not sure. This is a mysterious entity indeed, and it is best that Icky becomes aware of this. And if it's nothing, it's dinner.
Yes. Icky likes dinner. I like that. How much meat?
About 7 guildens.
And bones?
Enough to make a gilden a suit of armor.
Icky doesn't need armor.
But
Icky
gilden
needs
might.
dice.
Ooh.
You are not my broodling. I don't care what you do.
Yeah, I sort of reach into my pouch, and I do pull out some bone dice, and I sniff them, and I go, many dice could be harvested, but I feel her living state is perhaps more powerful than her dead bones.
Those are powerful words. Where are you guys having this conversation?
I think of the center of town square in loud voices. No,
so like over some spiced crickets?
Yeah, I think I'm handing her essentially, in order to get her to talk, I have to prod her. So
Yeah.
I hand her, here's a weasel kebab, Here's
Yeah.
the armadillo casserole. I reach in my pockets, pull out 2 desert toads. She takes one, then the other.
Icky is being very impatient and just like outpacing him, like trying to walk around corners. Like, I can't believe that you find me every city.
Oh, yeah.
How?
My third eye. It watches.
I have seen no such third eye.
It is the invisible eye.
How much meat?
No meat.
It's about this time you guys see Baloo and Ellie walk back into the marketplace.
There she is. I kind of look up and kind of, can I get a ride? Can I climb on your back this time?
Oh.
Please?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And I just kind of nimbly try to follow her. Almost like a Charlie Chaplin walk as speedily as possible.
That's a
Icky's
big
gonna
ask.
like awkwardly like kinda, and then you were right this time. That is a lot of meat. And try to like not hardcore stealthy follow, but definitely take like a mental note of Baloo's size and the pace of their gait and whether or not they have a purpose to where they're walking.
All right. Baloo, do you ever walk anywhere with purpose?
Unless it's like towards food or bed, no.
All right.
He's got long arms, right? Like seriously long arms, and so if he passes somewhere and no one's really looking, he might just take a bite.
He's just gonna snatch some food.
Yeah, there's like a jug of something hanging from a stall. He just takes a sip, puts it back.
No one says much because you're a warden and
yeah,
they just kind of put up with it. But
yeah,
behind your back, they're kind of.
I mean, he's not a thief. He's just he just knows other people are going to be generous with him because of how big he is.
Right. So as you it's not long after that Myrrh can rejoin the market. So the crowds have dispersed, and people have gone about the regular sort of business of commerce and greeting one another. Looking around, you can see that all manner of goods and services are available today. The great number of merchants have laid out their carpets and put their tents and sort of shelters up against the desert heat. They are offering everything from oils and balms and lotions of various fragrances to remove the grime and grit of the wastelands. There is a scale cleaning station and a paraffin dip afterwards for all of the different dragonkin, kobolds, and lizard folk that are found here in the markets. A stockyard sells various mounts and other beasts of burden. And you see, tattoo stalls, various food items being sold, drinks and other beverages are available, as well as baubles and everything else you might find at a desert wasteland market.
Baloo's going to ask Ellie, so anything you want to see?
So far I'm seeing a lot, which is really, really awesome. But I don't know. What is your favorite thing to eat?
Oh no. Depends on what I'm doing while I'm eating.
What if it's
laying
talking
down
to somebody that you just met and with some friends?
Okay, all right. Something that's gonna not get in your teeth. I'd say avoid anything with an exoskeleton. I like a good melon if you can find it. Hard to come by. Caterpillars. Caterpillars are a good one.
Okay, then those are delicious.
Yeah. Everything's delicious if you eat it right. So yeah. Yeah. Oh, over here. Yeah. Let me show you.
Okay. She
Blue will go to a fried bug stand.
Okay. How about everybody else? Were Icky and Gildan following the pair of them?
Oh yes.
Icky is
Yeah.
absolutely following
Okay.
on
And
the
then-
hunt.
On the hunt. And then how about Mir?
Well, Myrrh is probably watching them and tailing behind a bit to see if anyone looks like they're gonna mess with them. And if so, then she goes over to that person and distracts them, gives them a little spiel and stuff, and then while keeping an eye on them, and then goes off to the next person, hands them a business card, and goes off. She's just basically making sure, in her own way, that they don't get messed with while they
Gotcha.
go get food.
Okay. And yeah, like people are watching, they're curious, they stare. And there are some people who like get really close, and a couple of them like are trying to like just poke at Ellie, like just to like get a shoulder or your arm.
One finger.
Yeah. You know, they're or like two little kids, two little like orc kids are daring each other to go over there and to touch you to see if you're real or if you're not like some kind of weird ghost thing. You can hear them.
Do they come up to me? Or...
You can hear them arguing. They're fairly close and not trying to be quiet.
Oh, okay. Then she'll just kind of ignore them and kind of keep walking.
As Myrrh walks past them, she smacks them both on the hand with her tail. As just casually, she walks by like, pop, pop.
So I'll have Icky, Myrrh, and Gildan make me perception checks real quick. Let me know if you get above a 14.
I don't think I got above a 4, so
Ooh.
no need for me.
I got a
Good roll
13.
so far.
13.
Nat 1, babe.
Oh my god.
I'm not
That's
even in
close.
the same town.
Right.
Doing
You're
well
just
so
you're
far.
like so focused on this new arrival. Yeah, there's just a lot to distract you, and the sights and smells and sounds of the market are, make kind of sussing anything out a little difficult. You guys pretty much are allowed to eat and go about your business without too much trouble. No one's going to mess with the warden, and with Myrrh on the case, keeping people off. No one really comes up and bothers the pair of you.
So
If
what
it
about
looks-
those bugs?
What's that?
I was like, so what about those bugs? Are those good? And like I point at like a random one with a lot of legs.
Oh yeah. And I found out that the bigger they get, the better they are. I like turning into a snake, and then swallowing one that's like double my length, just to see if I can do it. That's really fun.
That sounds
Mhm.
dangerous.
I know not everybody can do that, but it's really good to just fill yourself up that much. Yeah.
I don't think I would try it. Maybe I'll try like a little bit.
I mean, I could teach you how to be a snake. It would take a while, but I could do it.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Mhm.
And then Ellie's just like agreeing to this because she really wants to become friends with him.
Okay. Just
Like,
looking
he
for
seems
a buddy.
nice. He likes food.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're selling like spicy, like curried crickets, basically. So this kind of goes on for a while. The market is it's a successful market day. There are at some point a group of orcs sets up shop in one of the corners of the market and sort of starts what seems to be an impromptu wrestling match, which draws a bit of a crowd there. But for the most part, the market day is fairly tame until Baloo sees Dodvi again after about an hour or so of hanging out in the market.
Blue will tell Ellie, hold on a second, just chill with Mir for a minute.
Okay. And I wave at her like awkwardly.
Myrrh beckons her over. Do you like clothes shopping? I'm looking at this lovely silk.
That looks nice. Oh, it's very soft.
Indeed.
And I'll go talk to Dodvi.
She motions you over. All right, Baloo. I got another thing I need you to do. Yeah.
Okay.
Enoch has brought in some new baubles from the wastelands, and we need you to go over there and just give them a look, will you? I just need you to go over there and look at them, Baloo. Nothing complicated. And you would know Enoch to be a peddler of just trinkets, knickknacks, things that he claims are harmless baubles, but that skirt the line but with arcane objects. He sells books that perhaps the Fellowship would rather him not sell, and scrolls that are just a little too close to being actual spells. But he never crosses that line. He sells curiosities, as he describes them.
I might have blackmailed him before so that he gave me some cool books, and I didn't rat him out. That's probably happened at least once.
Okay.
Because Baloo likes to read when, before and after naps.
Sure.
So
Dodvi is asking, you need to just go over there, Baloo. I don't need anything more than to just check it out. And you can tell that it's written all over her face that she's impatient right now.
Right. Okay, all right. Clear signals. Let's go do this. So Baloo would head immediately over to Enoch.
Okay. What's everybody else up to during this hour that they were eating and hanging out?
I am immediately distracted by the orc wrestling.
Okay. Anyone else?
Icky has kind of set herself out into the side, kind of just watching to see if they've moved at all, and is kind of in her mind setting their course, how they've been walking around and trying to see if there are similar places, watering holes, so to speak, that the animals will return to on a regular basis. And she's actually gonna go ahead and open up her little side pouch that she has stitched into her it's not a bustier, but it's like a leather harness, and kind of whisper into it a couple of times. And I guess if anybody's paying attention, they'll see the large flaky head of a giant centipede just kind of poke its head out and kind of move its antennas.
Similar to that.
And then she'll move an 18-pound cat out of the way. Yeah, mostly that. Just kind of hunker down in the shadows and keep an eye out and lick her eyeball nervously a couple of times.
All right. So yeah, if anyone's paying attention or on the lookout, they can make a perception check to spot this.
Mur is always on the lookout.
Always on the lookout.
This 6'5", 200.
That's a natural 20.
Nice. So yeah, you spot that giant centipede.
Nice.
Interesting place to keep it.
So where is so Baloo has gone off to check out Enoch's stall. Gildan is on his way to the orc wrestlers, and Icky and Mur are keeping an eye on things and just sort of posted up. How about Ellie? I don't get the impression that Baloo. I think maybe Baloo did he forget?
No, he sent her over to Mur, and Mur, while keeping an eye out, it's trying to find some color that will go with this odd skin tone. She's like, what about the blue? Oh, blue might work. What do you think about red? And secretly, Mur is shopping for herself as well, but keeping Ellie inclusive part of the loop.
Yeah, I think Ellie, while she was looking at clothes, she went to the person next to her to get those curried crickets, and she's just going to town. She's never had anything tastier in her life.
They're quite delicious.
I think red is a nicer color. Well, no, I think I like the blue one. But this one would look nice on you. And I pull up a purplish one.
Ah, thank you. I'm rather partial to red myself, but blue might go with your skin tone. Yes. Do you have an extra change of clothes? You woke up in the forest, after all.
No, these are the only clothes I have.
Well, let's get you something as well. Let's just to make sure you are taken care of.
Oh, okay. Do you need this for it? And I take out my little pouch with like 10 gold.
No, I have it. It is fine.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Because Myrrah has money, so she'll get like a little simple dress for Ellie.
She's a sugar mama. Hey.
And for herself, she's actually buying some fancy, like kind of like a leather outfit with some red silk, basically studded leather armor, but fancy and
Nice.
provocative.
Yeah, they've got a lot of things like that. I imagine that a lot of the cloth merchants here probably know Myrrh very well. And so, you know, they invite you in. Oh, look at what we have. We selected this special thing, kept it aside just for you, that kind of thing. Let's see. Gildan. The orcs have set up an impromptu wrestling ring. There's 4 of them, wrestling in sort of a tag team style. Orcs, they decided long ago that worshiping gods like Grumsh had gotten them nowhere. That Grumps had just incited hatred and violence in the orcs and kept them from achieving their sort of civilizational greatness. And so they threw off the worship of Grumsh and have embraced a kind of enthusiastic atheism and have a sort of a culture based on extreme sports, wrestling, and passionate philosophical debate.
Those are my kind of orcs. All right, so I kind of want to size up. Would I be able to discern if this is a worked match? Are they essentially doing a wrestling that's a sort of performance art, or is this a sincere athletic competition?
This is a sincere athletic competition.
Okay.
They are, you know, busting each other's faces and throwing each other around and not holding back anything.
Cool. It's kind of like a Greek pancration gladiator. Okay. I want to start coaching 2 of the orcs. And start to sort of discriminate. And while I do it, I'm going to kind of give cutting jibs at the others. I'm going to kind of try to be an eyesore and a distraction, the kind of goblin they don't want watching their wrestling match from the outside.
All right. So you basically picking like one of the partners to buddy up to and then talking smack about the others?
Yep. And I'm playing it up. And not only that, every now and then, if they ever look my way, the 2 that I am picking on, I'm going to use my thaumaturgy to make my body glow with almost as if the heat of a mirage is coming off of me.
Gotcha.
Yes, with a sort of greenish hue, devilish goblin grin, and this is these foolish orcs.
the guy that the one orc who's there, his name is Trell, deep sort of orcish voice, and he gets a real kick out of the insults thrown at the other team, and gets in on the act. And there's by now the crowd has kind of like really getting in on like, you know, who's gonna wrestle. Is there anybody else wrestling next? You can see like pairs of some maybe bugbears or hobgoblins who are like thinking about getting in. But the match that you're watching now, I don't know, do you have like an intimidation check perhaps to see how much you've shaken this opponent orc?
Let me take a check. So And that's charisma modifier. I'm bad at those.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Not bad. Freaking 19.
All right.
20 minus 1, not 20.
All right.
There we go.
Yes! If I'm going to roll higher than a 2 tonight, it's going to be on heckling some orcs.
Right. You've really gotten inside this one orc's head, and you just there's a moment in the match where he's like got the other orc, and she's down and she's pinned, and he looks up and meets eyes with you briefly, and you just give him your best insult, and he's like momentarily distracted.
You have the same tusks my mother had. Did she loan you her dentures?
He's like, what? And then the whole match, his opponent slips away from his grip and turns the hold around on him and like picks him up and slams him back into the ground. Crowd goes nuts. Everybody in the marketplace can hear the crowd cheering as this kind of goes on.
Is this close to where Mur and I are?
Relatively close, yeah. The market's not like huge; it's sort of circular shaped, and so there's not many places for to go. So it's like across the market from where you're at.
Okay, can I head down there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to check out that commotion?
We probably should.
I learned that word today, seeing as I caused commotion today.
It is a good word. There are many things that I could teach you if you're interested.
Sure.
As you're walking over there, you notice that the wind has noticeably picked up at this time. There's some chimes in the stalls, and a bit of sand sort of blows everywhere. There's like a great big gust of wind that rushes through the market, and while it dies down, the wind is still pretty steady coming out of the southwest. But you guys, it doesn't impede you from getting to the orc wrestling arena.
Oh my god, that looks like a lot of fun. Have you ever tried?
Do you say that out loud?
Yeah.
Not in, public like this, but I do a form of that professionally. At
Really?
night, yes. There is.
Oh my god, you must look like such a badass.
It's more of a horizontal, full contact body wrestling, but
So, okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That could probably work on a lot of enemies or anybody that's mean to you, right?
yes, it works better than you would imagine.
Yeah, that could be one of the things you teach me.
I'm always open to teaching.
There's a bugbear next to the two of you as you're chatting, and with that, he's like not really looking at you. He's paying attention to the match. He's like, "We could always go in there if you want," and he looks and is like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to intrude."
You're not intruding at all, and I'll just hand him a business card.
He takes it.
Business card.
Like, go in there, like, fight people, like you and I, or like you two.
Usually it's just one-on-one. Best your opponent. That's all it's about, I guess. Used to wrestle myself, but then I injured my knee.
Oh no! And I look down at his knee. Does it look weird or anything?
He's got an old scar on it.
Okay.
It's like a patch of bald fur and a rather nasty-looking scar there.
Okay. Well, maybe you could join again. I mean, that shouldn't stop you from following your dreams, unless it's not your dream anymore.
He's
Then-
like, yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it, stranger, who I've never, don't know who or what you are.
Hello, my name is Ellie.
Hi, Ellie. My name is Royce. And he just strikes up a conversation with you.
Yeah.
While this has been going on, Baloo, you've found Enoch. I think you're muted.
I am now.
There you
No, I'm not. I'm good. So I found Enoch. I kind of approach him like, like in Men in Black, like Agent K approaches the bulldog. Anyway, I'm coming up to him and I'm like, "Hey, how's it going, Enoch? It's good to see that you set up shop again." Hmm?
Ah, yes. Is there anything I can interest you in? Perhaps some new reading material?
Yeah, maybe. By the way, what is he like?
So Enoch
describe
is a middle-aged hobgoblin. You can see he's got graying hair at the temples. Keeps himself fairly well-dressed, well-groomed. He's a permanent resident of Tradetown, so he doesn't live in the wastelands or in one of the small villages. He lives here in town. You know him to be a perfectly law-abiding and respectful citizen who has an intense curiosity about all things Arcana.
Yeah, that's I got to identify with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, in that case, I'm not going to shake him down. I'm not there to make his day terrible.
Yeah.
But I would like to know what he's selling. I'm going to look over my shoulder first to make sure that the Dadvi's not like tailing me.
No, her back's turned. She's watching the orc match
Okay.
from the back edge of the crowd.
Yeah, I'm not looking for an employee evaluation right now.
Right.
So yeah, I'll ask him what he's got that's interesting, and I will raise my giant furry eyebrows up and down.
Yes. It's nothing. Certainly nothing that you should be concerned about. And he kind of like takes a piece of cloth and uncovers a bunch of like just broken crystals and there's a scroll tube there that looks like it has something in it, some books. Mostly it's just odds and ends, things like that. And he invites you, says, "Please, Blue, peruse all you like, inspect what you need to. I know why you're here, so I won't begrudge you that, but I'm not doing anything wrong."
No, you're not. I totally understand. Would you mind if I more officially checked your wares?
Of course.
The standard practice.
But of course, and he gestures towards his wares. It's at this time that the wind has started to pick up and is really kind of just like blowing through the market. It's caused quite a bit of stir on those stalls that are along kind of like the southern edge of the market. A lot of people are having to like cover over their wares and tie down their tents and things like that. Those of you at the orc wrestling match, it sort of like catches you in your back. You sort of like feel the wind and the sand and the grit as it gusts through the market on your backs. And let's see. So give me a recap. How's everybody? What's everybody up to right now?
I'm starting to form a betting line. Like, I'm letting everyone know what the odds are.
Yeah.
And if they want to stake wages. Now, I won't wage against them, but I'll help arrange and negotiate bets between the people. Because this is a healthy exercise.
Sure.
Bookie.
Sure. What's a bit of side gambling on a wrestling match?
Yes, absolutely. Side gambling, that's all it is.
And then, so how about, Icky, are you still just kind of maintaining your distance and looking out?
Icky had been maintaining her distance, but when they got up to go to the wrestling match, Icky decided that this was enough cover inside of the herd that she could approach without it seeming strange now that there's like a betting line showing up and people are like all taking their food over there. So she and Skitter Step are going to go ahead and kind of like slither their way through the crowd just to get a little bit closer and see what sort of like armoring or natural protections that this prey would have on them. Mm-hmm. And also to see how many wardens are in the area besides the two that she's already seen.
Gotcha. So you get close enough, and I think Ellie is wearing scale armor, sort of like leather with a metal scales on it.
Mhm.
And you notice at least two wardens, Myrrh standing close to Ellie, and then Dodvi is further away but within eyesight of the two of them. And go ahead and make me a perception check for see what else that you spot.
Can I roll for Skitter Step too?
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, I got a 4. And Skitter Step got a 6. So
You see what you see. The crowd's fairly large in terms of how crowds go, but you don't notice any other wardens or anything else like that. The wind is still picked up, and at this point, it has gotten to be quite disruptive. The tents in the middle of the market, where all the food's being prepared, they're covering up their fire pits. Many of them have already gone out. They're covering up the food that they have, and the wrestling match here. The two combatants are sort of like, one's about to just like get the other in a hold they can't escape from, and they kind of stop as this wind just starts to like blow over tents and knock down some of the smaller people that are here in the marketplace.
like that.
Are these winds unusual for this time of year, like area that we're at?
Yeah, it's everybody, or if you're proficient in it, you can give me a nature roll. Not sure if anybody is proficient in it, but for those of you that live here, it doesn't usually get this bad.
3.
Yeah, there's something definitely different about this wind. For most of the day, Icky, you've noticed that it's been a slight breeze coming in out of the west, and this is, like I said, a gale force winds coming in from out of the southwest. So there's something about it that last gust has caught you.
Is it something that I would have noticed being in the Yellow Wastes before?
Yeah, so those of you who are travelers of the wastes and who've spent a lot of time there, there's all sorts of strange weather phenomenon that's out there. Everything up from just like your standard flesh-rending sandstorm to storms of a magical nature. And this has the feeling of that. You can taste it on your tongue. There's some kind of magic afoot in this wind.
In that case, there's going to be that warm glow from that pocket, and like that little subtle whispering that's like, and she's just going to start retreating into more solid building.
Yeah, out on the periphery of the marketplace, there are like low buildings, and then just along like the southern edge of town is an old wall that was here whenever they founded the city. That's probably the most secure place that you can see. So you make your way there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not going to say anything to anyone either. I'm just going to...
You're just going to ghost them?
Absolutely.
How about everybody else?
Myr's gonna kind of put a protective arm around Ellie and be like, "My dear, I believe there is a sandstorm or some sort of phenomenon approaching. Perhaps we should find cover of some sort."
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, people are running for buildings and shelter right now.
Myr will escort Ellie because she doesn't want to let her out of her sight because she was kind of told to keep an eye on and, get her to some safe shelter.
How about Gildan and Baloo?
Gildan is going to begin singing a forbidden tune in the language of his teacher, one of the witches of the waste, of which he belonged to as the winds are coming in. And in his song, he is going to thank the storm for coming, thank the storm for cleansing the land, thank the storm for warding off predators, And with that, he is essentially going to tuck up real small, throw his desert blanket over himself, and curl up into a tiny goblin ball and attempt to take refuge from the storm.
Okay. Just let it pass over.
Yes.
How about Baloo? Enoch's tent has blown over, and he's like scrambling after loose scrolls and other baubles.
Blue would tell him, seek shelter. Good luck. In other words, he's not going to help him.
You're on your own.
Yeah. Baloo might have encountered some of this before in his travels in his youth. Would he know if this is an arcane storm?
You can make me an Arcana check now. I mean, the winds now have really picked up and they're sustained.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you can make me an Arcana check instead of a nature check for this one.
Okay, 19.
Yeah, you feel it maybe on the back of your neck, or just that warden's instinct that you have, that this is not a natural phenomenon here.
Okay. Then yeah, I'll head towards shelter as well.
Okay.
If there's anyone tiny on the way, I can pick them up and take them with me.
I mean, you see Myrrh and Ellie making for shelter. I think probably Icky got out of here before anyone else did and is on her own. You'll have to make a perception check to spot Gildan, though.
Like a 12?
I don't know. I mean, let's say that. What's Gildan's dexterity? Like, what's your passive stealth?
My passive stealth would be 12.
12. For a minute, you think he might be an overturned basket, but as you pass by, you notice Gildan bracing himself.
Baloo, I smell you. Please take me wherever you're going.
Yeah, I'll just kind of just reach down, put him under my arm, and keep walking.
Okay.
Thank you, Baloo. I nuzzle my head on his bugbear.
As you're rushing across the courtyard, the wind's picking up. A stall made of just like wood lashed together goes like tumbling in front of you. Make me a dexterity save for both Baloo and Gildan. DC for this can be 11.
I got a 13.
Good.
Yeah, I got a 14.
You manage to narrowly avoid this thing as it tips and goes careening through the marketplace. And it's at that moment that there's a peal of thunder that ripples through, and sort of like that kind of thunder that shakes you right here, that you can feel more than here. And towards the southwest, these storm clouds have gathered, and they're dark, sort of ominous. And you can see something large and geometric in the middle of the clouds, sort of manifesting or appearing in the sky. That's what Baloo and Gildan can see as they make their way towards the shelter.
Screw that. I hate flying. No, I hate flying black pyramids. I've wiped players with those things. I don't.
Yeah. Baloo might raising his voice over the wind. Baloo would tell Gildan, "Heretic. Do you know what that is?"
First off, I am not a heretic. I am wise.
Later.
Do I know what that is? Can I make a check? Historically, am I aware of it, or religiously? Have I seen something like this in the Waste? I lived out there for 10 years.
You did live out there for 10 years, and where you discovered many secrets. Let's go with history for this one.
Not bad. I got a 16.
16. The world as you know it has been a planar crossroads for quite some time. It's notoriously amongst the wise witches of the wastes, notoriously easy to summon things here. In fact, it's quite dangerous to do so because not exactly what you call might come through. And so planar travelers moving something this big through planar membranes would be trivially easy, comparatively speaking. So you know that much about this thing. let's see. Myrrh and Iki and Ellie, you all are at the moment are in shelter someplace, and don't really have a good view of the sky to see what's going on. But you can see, people are running every which way to get out of the storm. The wind is blowing down the stalls and is basically like just completely flattened the market there. What are y'all doing right now?
Flirting.
Watching her flirt. Are you flirting with me or somebody else?
Everybody.
Oh, okay.
Everybody.
Yeah.
I just think she's very friendly and everybody seems to like her.
There's a few like nervous goblins nearby that don't know what to make of this. They're like, is everything okay? We don't, and they know you also as a warden, as someone who's in a position of authority. Like,
Yeah.
Are we gonna be all right? Is this another?
I am sure everything will be fine. We just have to wait out for the storm to pass, that is all.
Oh, okay, all right. And they just kind of like nervously look around as.
There's
the wind
anyone who
howls.
looks like they have some coin that is especially nervous, she's gonna be like, listen, I could make all of this stress just melt away for a very low price.
Am I hunkered down in the same place?
Yeah, I thought you had kind of like left. Which direction did you go in when you slinked off?
I mean, she's been there before, so she'd probably find like the nearest, biggest, sturdiest building.
Okay. You're not far from where they're taking shelter then.
Okay.
But I'm gonna say you're closer towards the southern edge than anyone else.
Cool. I'm cool with that. Then Iki is actually going to like hunker down in a corner and start she's gonna go ahead and pull Skitter Step out to scout and see like if there are cracks in the building that he can like skitter up to and like kind of report back.
Mm-hmm.
But also she's going to start consulting with the warm glow inside of her harness and try and get some guidance.
Try and get some guidance. You, there are cracks in the building, like underneath the door and along, like say, where the a window frame doesn't quite fit in with the mud brick of the house. That Skitter Step can enter into and kind of get a better view of what's going on. Your warm glow tells you, it gives you an overwhelming sense of danger and of being hunted. It's not a sensation you're used to feeling, I think.
No. It's very confusing to Iki. Iki doesn't really, Iki understands being prey, but not being, singular prey for a single entity.
Mm-hmm. There's Iki can hear now on the wind a high-pitched whining that accompanies the sort of the howl of the winds, in between sort of flashes of greenish kind of lightning that light up the sky.
It's a negative Ghost Rider.
How about Baloo and Gildan? You guys have made it to shelter. What are y'all doing?
Well, Gildan, here we are again, hunkering down.
Yeah, the pyramid is fully emerged from the cloud and is hovering somewhere in the distance.
I think we must learn what dwells within that pyramid. Knowledge would be quite good for us to.
Yeah, looks pretty far away though.
Maybe it is very close and perhaps quite tiny.
I don't doubt that that's possible. Gildan, this is why I like you, because you ask the good questions, the tough questions. Do you want to go out there and find it right now?
We have just traveled here. If we were to poke at it 10 minutes ago would have been the time to do that. So, no, I'm kidding. Well, I'm so curious about it that I think I must discover what it is. Why don't you watch from a safe distance, and I will get its attention.
Okay,
All right.
if you're sure.
All right. I'm going to go out. Am I able to see the pyramid in the sky?
Yes. Yeah. You can brace yourself against the wind and see the pyramid.
I begin singing in a tongue not heard by the ears of those that dwell in this forsaken land. A song that only I know, a song that was taught to me in the waste. And as I sing this, I use my thaumaturgy to swirl the sand around my feet and to change the pigment of my skin to a bright electric pink. And I am approaching the pyramid in this fashion with open hands and empty palms.
Okay. This is Gildan's pretty visible as he walks forward, and eventually everyone can see him as he walks sort of out of the marketplace area through the buildings that sort of make up the perimeter of Tradetown, and here pretty soon he'll be beyond the limits of the city. As you walk forward, you see that the pyramid itself is hovering what seems to be low to the ground. It's maybe, if you had to guess, and your wasteland senses tell you that it's probably about a mile or so away. And other than that, it's hard to make out. The sand in the air is making everything very hazy, very difficult to see. You're kind of having to brace your eyes against the grit and dirt that's flying at you. So how far out does Gildan walk?
Okay. Gildan walks out about the length of a football field, so he goes about a quarter mile. He begins to use the divine magic that is within him and calls out the thunderous voice of a witch of the storm, raising the volume of his voice 3 times. He continues to call out the song towards the pyramid.
All right. Everyone else can see Gildan disappear into what's looking to be a giant sandstorm that's building up and coming towards the city. And then sometime after you see him disappear, you can hear him singing in this language of the wastes. And see what everybody else does before we figure out what Gildan finds out there. How about Ellie? What is Ellie up to?
Yeah, so I think seeing as there's lots of people talking outside, she'll kind of poke her head out from where she was kind of hiding. Mm-hmm. And does she see him? Does this pink glow?
She sees him as he disappears into the dust and sand as he walks out of Tradetown.
Okay. I go to Mirror and I'm like, hey, I think your friend just walked into the sandstorm. Is he going to be okay? Does he do this? Why is he like this? Be worried?
I do not think it is a cause to be worried. If he wants to commit suicide by walking out in a sandstorm, that is none of my business.
I am playing into my character's flaws and bonds, by the way.
It is
well, in that case,
a personal quest, I believe, at this point. There's nothing we can do for him, but remember him fondly.
Alright, I'll remember him as 37-year-old child.
Goblin.
Gildan, son of a Kai, called the wise.
Are we doing party-centered inspiration?
I think if you see something that is inspirational in one of your fellow players, then speak up and we can award inspiration that way. But I do think that Gildan's walking into the sandstorm unarmed, brightly colored, and loud is worthy of an inspiration.
I second that.
And so does anyone else go after him, react, make a note?
Mur notes that he's probably dead now, shrugs, and moves on with flirting and making sure, like, comforting and, you know, the
Making
usual.
sure everybody's okay,
Yeah.
things like that.
Does Icky by any chance would she remember like what he was wearing, if he was carrying any valuables or anything like that?
I think so. Yeah, he seemed to have a lot of
Icky
trinkets
would
on him.
love to make a note of where he likely died.
Okay. Yeah, what sort of trinkets and baubles does Gildan keep on him?
Okay, Gildan is wearing what he has donned, the ceremonial armor of the wise, which he designed and constructed himself out of odds and ends that he collected over his 10 years in the desert. He has a beautiful shield with the face of a ghostly woman on it. She has pale skin, long, stark white hair, and the eyes of an alien being. He has a necklace made out of teeth, but each tooth on the necklace is made out of a different predator. And he also has a ring on each finger, but each ring is made out of the skin of a different humanoid.
Well, there you go.
How far away is Gildan?
He disappeared right around the time he left the edge of the town. So the town itself is situated on the right bank of the river that runs through here. And there's like a small palisade that surrounds it. But this being market day, all the gates are open. All of the, they're inviting people in. So it's quite easy to just walk out of the city.
I feel like maybe he shouldn't kill himself right now. I'm okay. So I'm going to, damn it, Gildan. And Blue will invoke. He concentrates for a moment, closes his eyes, and imagines the war beast surviving the sands. He's going to invoke the spirit of a massive war beast, this beetle rhinoceros thing, and he's gonna put that around him, just in front of him, and then he's also going to take the form of that like war beast thing, and so and it's visible. You can see it. It's like it's like stretched out over this illusory image of this war beast.
So like he calls upon the spirit of the war beast to grant him. Is this what your wild shape kind of looks like and how it manifests?
Well, I'm also doing the spirit totem. So I'm invoking the bear spirit totem.
The war beast.
So that I'm getting some extra HP and also advantages on strengths. But more importantly, I'm going to go out there as some big thing that's hard to knock over. And try
As Baloo's shape changes and he looks like he's about to go out, Mur's gonna walk over, kind of just pat him on his haunch and be like, "Don't die. Good luck eating the goblin." And we'll be crossing our fingers here for you. And I will inspire him.
All right.
Nice.
And then she'll walk back and pull out her sitar and start playing Sandstorm by Darude.
Yes.
Like calm people down, play
Right.
upbeat sitar.
Yeah.
So Baloo goes into the sandstorm after everybody kind of sees this. Y'all are some of the only people left out. A lot of people run inside and are trying to seek more secure shelter. Dodvi is out there as well, and it looks like she's rounded up sort of a posse to help people get to shelter if they need it, and otherwise help out. Gildan, you're out there, and it's just this high-pitched whine that sort of undulates and has variable pitch. And you think you see things traveling quickly through the sand. and the dust that's kicked up all around you. There's occasionally you're buffeted by a blast of wind that rattles your armor and sets you back a couple of steps.
Am I able to discern at all what looks to be moving?
It looks like something's flying through the sand very quickly, maybe pairs of them. There's shapes, geometric in nature, just beyond the edge of your vision. But they are the sources of the high-pitched whine that you can hear.
All right. I am going to nimble escape, which is a goblin feature, and essentially hide myself and just observe closely. And I'm dropping the thaumaturgy, and I'm no longer singing. They clearly would know where I was or am, but at this point, I want to do the seeing and the observation.
Okay.
Perhaps even misdirect them.
Okay. Go ahead and make me a stealth roll for that.
Sure. We're using real dice, not roll 20. Oh, and I rolled one of my nice dice, so
Nice.
15.
15.
Now they see you. Yeah.
So you notice you're hiding for maybe a minute or two before you can see what, for all the world, looks like a pair of large flying daggers. They have a strong sort of triangular, angular shape to them, and there are riders, humanoid in size, sitting on what look like saddles attached to these sort of large triangular points in front of this. They're flying maybe 10 feet off the ground very fast, and just looking at them gives you that familiar headache of looking at powerful magic. And they fly like right by you. They don't seem to notice where you are.
Not very large. Let's see. What tricks have I got up my sleeve? How fast are they traveling beyond me? What's their speed?
Their speed is basically 60 feet around. They're traveling pretty fast. They kind of like zip by you. Your visibility at this point is probably about 10 feet, given the sand that's in there.
I'm essentially going to attempt. Now, I'm not very large, and if they're about 10 feet in the air, I only come off the ground about 3 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm a waste goblin in a blanket. So I'm essentially going to kind of dash and tail them and just kind of, let them get about 120 feet in front of me before I start running to keep pace.
Okay, so you're going to wait a couple seconds before they pass and then tail them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you come out of your hiding place and begin chasing after them. Baloo, as you are rushing into this building sandstorm, it's kind of approaching Tradetown like a sandy wall. You two can hear this high-pitched whining on the air and can start to see these geometric angular shapes in the sand. And give me a feel for how you're approaching the situation, Baloo.
Well, Baloo's looking for Gildan. He knows something is up, but he's he just decided to do this. Just kind of worked up the oomph. It takes him a minute.
Didn't quite
to budge.
think it through.
No, it takes him a minute to budge, and then once he budges, he just kind of goes for it.
Gotcha.
Like a bear going down a hill.
Mm-hmm.
So Baloo is rushing forward looking for Gildan. If he sees something else like coming directly at him, he would try to hit it out of the way. But for the most part, he's on a mission.
Okay, so you see you see the same sort of thing in the sand. It looks like for all the world, a giant flying dagger with a saddle attached to the end of it, which has like I said, a vaguely humanoid-sized rider. As one of them passes by you, they're in pairs. Mm-hmm. As a pair of them pass by you, you can see that one of them kind of like peels back around and loops and is coming back towards your way. Mm-hmm. You probably have just a couple of seconds before it will be on you.
It's definitely sharp looking.
Yes, definitely sharp looking and big as well.
Big.
They're flying about 10 feet above the ground, and you got a good look at one of them as it was sort of like passing by you, and it looks like these sort of twin blades that come out to a point. The rider sort of saw you, and it looks like they have maybe a lance or some kind of long spear sort of stowed away underneath it, and then on one side of one of the points was a long metal tube that came off the thing. Okay. That's the scientific term for it. The thing.
Okay, the thing. I would, using my bonus action to keep my totem following me. Mm-hmm. I'd use my regular action to dodge. I want to see what this thing does.
So you're gonna go ahead and dodge.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and roll initiative to see which one of us gets to go first. And let's everybody give me initiative so that we will have that.
Beautiful.
And let's see what happens.
All right, I got 17.
17 for Can anybody beat a 17? Anybody
I got a 19.
22.
I got a 12.
And Gildan?
10.
I got a 6. So that will tell you how this goes. So initiative order is Myrrh, Ellie, Baloo, Icky, Gildan, myself. Now, for the moment, we're just going to stick with myself and Baloo, and then everybody will fold in as they get to the action. Baloo, you will have the opportunity to act before it gets to you, but you can see it coming around and is heading right towards you.
Okay. Heading right for me.
You're dodging? Still dodging?
I think so. If it's not a new round, then yeah, I'm going to stick with dodging. Okay.
So you're dodging, and what you see is that this thing speeds towards you, and you can see the rider on it. You get a good look at this humanoid. It has large, round, red eyes and kind of a skull face. Its body is crimson, or its skin at least looks crimson and just dull gray at the same time. Mm-hmm. And as it approaches you, you can see it grab something from underneath the saddle, and then it disappears as its dagger thing flies straight at you, and the rider reappears on the ground. So let me see. Actually, you were dodging, and you easily dodge out of the way of this thing as it goes sailing for about 10 feet in the air and lances straight for you. You dodge out of the way as its two blades kind of stick into the ground where you were standing, and advancing towards you is this humanoid with a large-looking pole arm in its grasp.
Raiders.
Yes. Gildan, you can kind of vaguely make out what's going on ahead of you. Mm-hmm. You will be there within the next round.
Okay. Now, just out of curiosity, I was attempting to maintain a distance of 120 feet-ish.
Okay.
If I have maintained that distance, I would be able to take an action this round.
Correct.
But I leave that up to you to adjudicate.
You could take an action, but you can't really see anything. You can kind of hear it. You can see vague shapes in the sand, but getting a good enough line of sight is going to be impossible, right? Without getting closer.
Okay. I'm good with that.
Cool. Anyone else want to do anything? You guys you hear a loud crash coming from somewhere in the sandstorm. Everyone else does.
Am I getting any guidance or anything from my whispers?
Your whispers are telling you to hide, and it's giving you sort of mixed signals as well. You're getting a sense of both to fight back, to not be cornered, and not allow yourself to become prey. But there's a strong instinct in your strong instinct to hide as well. So it seems as though it's conflicted itself.
I can definitely see, like, he said a quarter mile out to go into the storm, right? Is it still a quarter mile out? You said we can hear crashing and stuff.
You can hear crashing. Difficult to see now, given that the sandstorm has almost hit Tradetown. But it hasn't been that long since Gildan walked out into the sand. It's probably doubtful that he made it a full quarter mile before you heard the crash noise.
Icky's gonna hold.
Okay. How about Myrrh?
Myrrh is gonna see she heard the crash, and she's just gonna kind of sigh, and she's gonna continue playing her sitar. She's gonna kind of walk over to a window, or maybe if there's like a second story, kind of go up there so she can get a good vantage point. And if anything that doesn't look like Baloo or Gildan is walking up here, she's either gonna she's gonna low-key defend the people in here, whether that be with her bow or dagger, or maybe casting a spell.
Goodness. So from the second story, you do get a better vantage point, and you think you can see Baloo's shaggy self just outside of town.
Okay.
What's going on?
I'll keep a good eye on that, and if anything looks like it's gonna go at him too. How far away is he? About?
Let's say he's probably about 200 feet away.
Okay.
Where you're at. And then Ellie, are you sticking with Myrrh?
Yeah, I think so. I think whatever she does, Ellie will definitely follow.
Okay. Baloo, it's your turn.
So this war beast shape that I have, that I shifted into, any particular suggestions you would say for what creature it would represent?
You're talking about, like, mechanically which ones? I think that you should just pick an animal and then describe it as a post-apocalyptic war beast as you decide.
I think that's good. That's good.
Let's just reskin it.
So for now, where we're talking about here is a giant sand badger, basically.
Right.
Like sand shrew from Pokemon.
Sure.
Yeah. In which case, this person's coming at me. I know when.
Yes. So you get a better look at him, right? And it's definitely humanoid, probably about the size of a scrawny hobgoblin. Lean and, athletic looking, but menacing as well. It still has these large circular red eyes and sort of a skull face, whereas the rest of it is covered in this dark red and gray, looks like scaled sort of skin. And it grasps its pole arm, and it's definitely meaning to do you harm.
All right.
It's about 30 feet away.
Okay. I moved the pole 30 feet and war beasted out. I come in with a bite and a nasty gross little claw.
A gross little sand badger claw.
Gross little claw. Yeah, so that's going to be... let's see. I am blanking on exactly how shifting works. It's been too long.
It's been too long. I think it's an action, and unless you're a moon druid, in which case it's a bonus action.
Oh, and you don't get multi-attack, right?
No. Well, okay. You get the stats of the beast.
Okay. Well, I'm actually just going for a nice claw then.
Okay.
So 15.
All right. 15. Your claw rakes across its skin, its scaled skin, and as it rakes across, you can feel that this is metallic. That its scales are perhaps an armor as opposed to skin. because you can hear the scrape of metal on it. And Gildan, at this point, you can hear the sounds of fighting coming from up ahead.
Does 15 hit?
15 does not hit.
Okay.
It doesn't do damage. You just slash across its armor.
Gotcha.
Do I see him attacking something from me watching out the window?
Yeah, you can see the blue, and you can see like maybe the top, head and shoulders and pole arm of his fellow combatant.
Could I try to shoot at it with my bow?
Yes.
Okay. It's going to be at disadvantage because of the range, but I'm going to try.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is a 16, and that's an 18, so it'd be 16.
16 misses.
Okay.
An arrow flies in blue and lands fairly close to where you're at, but misses its mark. Gildan, it's your turn.
All right. How close am I to the combatants?
If you said you were about 120 feet out, I'd say if you moved forward last round, then
Yeah,
you're
we're gonna
like
full dash.
then you're like you're like 30 feet away from him.
Okay. So here's what I would like to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to move up onto one of these raider bogies. I'm drawing my warhammer, and I'm going to make an attack. And then after that, I'd like to take a bonus action.
Okay.
So I rolled a 23 to hit. 23
hits.
All right. So that'll be D8 plus my modifier, which isn't that high. That's 7 points of damage, and then I'm going to use Fury of the Small to pump another 3 points of damage into it.
Yay.
In total. And then as a bonus action, I'm going to cast Spiritual Weapon, and this appears to look like a hideous hag puppet floating spectrally, holding a comical oversized warhammer, and it's going to start puppet clubbing onto the head.
Like a Punch and Judy doll?
Literally like a punch.
Oh, yeah. All right, baby.
Seize them, Baba Yaga. All right. 17 to hit.
17 hits as well.
All right, so that dice. It's the same damage die. Why did I put it away? 7 points of damage, just like the other one.
Okay. Yeah, when you connect with your warhammer, you can feel flesh and blood under there, and bones snapping. And it doesn't seem like this warrior had quite noticed you were there till the last minute. So he's like taken off guard as the faces two of you now.
Stare my teeth at him.
And you see him sort of like drop into a defensive stance and swivel his head between the two of you, and then disappear in a puff of sand. And Baloo and Gildan are alone in the sandstorm. It is top of the initiative. So, Mira, I would take it that the last round you'd use basically a readied action.
Mm-hmm.
So it's now this third round of combat. It's your turn.
Is the guy still up? I back up for a second.
Make me a perception check.
Okay. If I don't knock my dice box off my desk. 18.
18. You can see just beyond where Baloo and Gildan had first engaged it. It reappears a short distance away and looks like it's trying to use the cover of the sand
to sneak back up on him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, she's going to try to shoot at it then with her bow. And she's still playing her sitar while she does it, but the sitar has like one looser string on it, and that's what she uses to pull an arrow back and release.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Okay, well, that's a natural 19, but it's a disadvantage.
Oh, no.
Ooh, okay. 20.
20 hits.
Yes. Oh, says I get to roll damage now. Oh, yay. Okay. That will be 7 points of damage.
7
Piercing
points of
damage. And I would like to use Psychic Blades. Use another use as my inspiration to add 2 more d6 damage to it.
Okay.
Well, that's not a lot. That's 5 extra psychic damage.
So you can see as your arrow strikes true and you imbue it with this psychic energy. Is it like, how does that, tell me a bit about how that works or what that looks like for Mira.
She kind of just starts kind of humming along as she plays her music, and then under her breath, just whispers a few words in Infernal. And the arrow, once released, kind of has a little aura of like fire and smoke coming off of it as it strikes its target.
Nice. You see it hit, and it's a pretty telling wound. Visibly, you can see that this warrior, reacts, drops one hand from his pole arm and grasps its side where your arrow hit. Ellie, you see all of this. If you're with Myr, she's she's taking aim at something out there that you can barely make out.
Okay. How far is it from me?
It's pretty far right now. It would probably take you at least 2 rounds if all you did was like just run out there as fast as you can to get out there.
Yeah, okay. I think Ellie would do that because she's seeing her new friend Baloo get attacked. So
Yes.
she's definitely just gonna sprint right in.
Okay. Then you will be there. If you use all of your move, you'll be there within 2 rounds.
Cool, yeah, I do
Okay. Baloo, it's your turn.
Do we see this thing yet?
You can make me a perception check to try to spot it in the sand.
Yeah. Hey, 19 plus 4, so 23.
23, yeah, it's about 30 feet or so off to your left. You saw another one of Myr's arrows strike into it, and a small grunt come from that direction. You can sort of see where it's at.
Does it take an action to do that?
No, that's just what you see.
Okay. Then I'm gonna rush back over there, and this time I'm gonna try to like bite it and pin it. I don't know if if I can do that all in one round, but so I'm gonna try to get my teeth in it.
You could use the attacks that the beast has. The beast has extra attacks, so you can just use them. You are that beast.
Mm-hmm.
Give me some rolls. Give me some rolls.
Sorry, excuse me.
That's all right.
Natural 20.
Nice.
All right. Yeah. Let me roll damage first. A 1 and a 2, so 4. 4 damage on that crit, and that's fun. And so, but I got a hold of him, and I bit him, and I'm just gonna keep biting him. Maybe I got his leg.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a medium-sized dirt badger. I'm pretty big, so hopefully I've got a hold of him. You don't have any kind of special grapple or anything.
I feel you. I got you. But you're trying to like pin him in place and keep him from moving again.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Icky, it's your turn.
All right, they haven't moved like too far away from me now, have they?
Not too far. No.
Can I
no.
still see it?
From where you'd have to kind of like climb up onto the roof of the.
But Skitter Step can see it?
Skitter Step can sense them out there.
Awesome. Because if there's one thing that Icky loves, it's a drastically unfair fight, which is what this has now become. So ignoring the better judgment, Icky is also going to leap into the fray, like leave the safety of the home and join in a now very one-sided hunt.
Okay. If you use all of your movement, you'll be there next round.
Okay.
So if you just like haul, and you can even see like Ellie doing the same. She's like right on your heels.
Awesome. I'm gonna grab up Skitter Step and do that.
Okay. And Gildan, it's your turn.
All right. Can Gildan see any adversaries or see where Baloo has trapped an adversary, or does he need to look around?
You saw the direction that Blue ran off into and heard a giant badger roar.
Oh, okay. Am I able to see any of the other party members, or am I obscured from the...
They're obscured from you.
Okay.
Further down, yeah.
I'm going to attempt to find a bogey within like a 20-foot radius of where I'm at.
Okay.
So I got a 12 for perception.
You can see that there's another pair of these things flying in low. They're probably 30 feet from you from where you're at right now.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast Bane on those targets.
Mm-hmm.
And they will need to make a charisma saving throw DC 14.
Okay. Let's see. No, those are 2 fails.
Okay, so now when they make attack rolls or saving throws, they must subtract 1d4 from what they roll.
All right.
And I now have concentration up.
Okay.
And with that, I'm going to hide as a bonus action. I got 17 to hide, just to try to remain unseen.
Okay. So yeah, you pull your cloak back over you and dig down into the sand a bit. That makes it my turn. And so, Baloo, you're biting and kind of wrestling with this creature. It takes sort of a step back and pivots and brings its pole arm into to attack you. So here we go. Your AC is 15, yes?
Not as a giant badger.
Oh, then what is your AC? That's a giant badger. 10?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I hit you twice.
That's good. That's good.
Is it? Is it?
It's great. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
So he brings this wickedly curved polearm down on you in two quick slices, and is trying to like fend you off so that it doesn't get cornered or trapped by you. First attack hits you for 8, and the second one hits you for 6.
Okay. I am still a badger. And now I'm angry.
All right. And then that's the end of my turn. It's going to be Mir's turn. Sorry, Mir. I keep saying Mir, I think because of the Mir space station.
It's okay. just think of gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
And Mir, yes.
Myrrh.
There we
Okay.
go.
There we go.
All right, so it is my turn again. Do I see the other two that have come up? That are coming up?
Yeah, you see them flying in low, right where the last place that you saw where
Okay.
Blue was.
She's gonna just keep twanging her sitar bow and keep playing.
Okay. So you're firing at these 2 new ones then?
Mm-hmm. I'll
Okay.
pick just one of them because I only have one. So,
Gotcha.
okay. Disadvantage because they're so far away. That might hit. That is another 20.
Oh, nice.
This dice likes me. I'm so glad I picked the gold set for her.
You've been charging them up for so long.
They've been sitting in a box for a year. They're happy to play. All right, and that will be 6 points of damage.
Okay, so 6 points of damage on that one, and it takes him by surprise. And Gildan, you can see as they're flying in low past you, one of Mir's arrows streaks out and hits the rider, and the rider goes tumbling from its vehicle into the sand and dirt near your feet. And Ellie, continue running.
Yes, and my next round I can start attacking, right? Or
Correct.
is it the round?
At the end of this round, you will be in the vicinity of where they're at. So you run up, you can kind of see a vaguely Gildan-shaped thing. Well, maybe not. I think you got like a 15 on your stealth check. You might want to roll to see if you can actually spot him. But you do see one of the enemies not far who is lying in the sand.
Yeah, I
with
had a
arrows sticking out.
17 to
17.
hide.
Okay, cool. Then yes, then that's all I could do.
Okay. Let's see. Baloo?
You can use multi-attack while in the beast form, right?
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't been doing that. So,
And you could use one of those multi-attacks for a grapple if you want.
excellent. Okay. I like it. So, in which case, I'm going to bite this guy again, because he's just not going to go down.
No.
All right.
Seems
so
pretty tough warrior here.
21 to hit.
21 hits.
All right, let me do damage with that real quick. As much as the crit, 4. And then I'm going to try to grapple afterward.
Okay.
So 4 damage, and then a... Oh, wait. But I have the Totem of the War Beast going, so I have advantage on strength checks.
Yeah.
So I got 14.
A 14?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with your prodigious strength and channeling the war beast, you almost overpower him. But this warrior is lithe as well as tough, and at the last minute, kind of slips out of your grip and brings his pole arm to intercede in front of you, get you away from him.
Then I am at the end of that. I'm going to use a bonus action to revert back to bugbear form.
Okay.
So it's just like I come out of the sand shrew, and I am probably bigger actually now, and I just like give him like a good old goblin roar.
Okay.
And,
everybody who's sort of paying attention and can hear Baloo give off this great big roar.
My AC is better now.
I see. Icky, you run up into the area and you can spot Gildan if you get a 17 on a perception check. Otherwise, there is a downed warrior with an arrow sticking out of him near where you are. I think you're muted.
Muted in Zazu.
Gildan's not even on her mind. So,
Okay.
sorry, Gildan. But I have 2 sickles, and I would like to start out with casting Ensnaring Strike.
Okay.
On the warrior that I can see. And I would like to go ahead and make my 2 attacks, since Ensnaring Strike is a bonus action.
Okay, sounds good.
First one's a 13.
You have advantage to hit him because he's prone.
Oh, neato Cheeto. Yeah, first one's a 13.
Okay.
And then second one is in 21.
The second one hits. The first one scrapes off his armored hide.
Awesome. And then, wait, what's... Oh my gosh. Oh no. I zoomed out because I'm a fool. Okay, awesome. So then he's going to be caught up in those thorny vines.
Okay.
I need to roll my D4. That's not a D4.
From your sickles.
Yeah, from my single sickle. I swiped left-handed at first. All right, I got a 5.
5.
Yeah.
All right. So do I need to make any kind of save for that ensnaring strike, or how do I escape from it?
Strength savings throw.
Gotcha. Well, it's not my turn, so I'll do that next time. But strength saving throws will be. Let's see. Gildan.
I have a question, a mechanical question. I can see those 2. If they cannot see me, do I get advantage on my attack?
Yes.
Okay, so make an attack. 23 to hit with my Thorn Whip on one of them.
Nice. Yes, 23 will hit on that one.
Okay, 1d6 piercing damage, so it does 2 piercing damage. Thank you, dice. And I'm going to pull him 10 feet closer, and then that will bring him within range of my spiritual weapon. So the old hag puppet will go floating up to him and start cracking him on the head. So I got a 15 to hit.
This one is still still prone. So I think your spiritual
the one that I
weapon
grabbed with the third one.
Were you grabbing the other one off of the thing? I guess it was unclear which you were grabbing one off.
Whichever one I hit in. If I have advantage, I have 23 to hit.
23 does
again. All right, so that does much better. So that does 10 points of damage.
Nice. Yeah, this guy's looking quite beat up because he's not even done anything and has been He's fallen off his vehicle and been smashed and sliced and stabbed. So I've got two warriors here. The one on blue continues to try to maneuver you in a advantageous position to deliver a killing blow, and strikes at you twice with its polearm. Your armor class is 15, and it misses you twice, whiffing in the air around you. And then the one that is surrounded by a hag puppet spiritual weapon and a Gila monster wielding a pair of sickles attempts to get up and make an attack against, or well, he's ensnared, isn't he? I gotta make that saving throw to do anything, to get out. In this case, it continues to be ensnared. And can I make an attack while it's ensnared, Icky? I don't have a ensnaring strike handy real quick.
You're muted.
I'm a failure. I'll figure
It
out.
happens to everybody.
Yeah.
No, it says restrained by the magical vines. So.
Okay, so
When you're
yeah,
restrained, is it an attack with disadvantage?
I do believe it's an attack with disadvantage.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead. And
Or
call
if
it
he,
an attack.
but if he tries to escape, that consumes his action.
That's true as
Yes.
well. So he has struggled and tried to escape, and he is done, making it Mur's turn.
Then I will shoot him.
And he's already at disadvantage, so the fact that he's prone doesn't matter.
Alright. So, ooh, that one might not hit. Nope. I don't think a 13 hits. Nope.
No. An arrow flies in, but misses its mark. Ellie?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Whenever
what's
he's
up?
restrained, he's going to take 1d6 piercing damage at the start of
Ooh.
each of his turns
Let's go ahead and roll that.
from the vines. Sorry about that.
No worries. It'll be Ellie's turn after this damage is rolled.
Cool.
It's a 1.
A 1.
Got
One
it.
little thorn pricks him.
Uh-huh. Tink. All right, Ellie.
All right, so as soon as Ellie gets there, she's just running. She gets there. She's like, "Baloo, are you okay?" And then she sees him. Maybe were you getting damage?
No,
Yeah.
you get this. I think your badger form had taken some damage, but
Yes.
Baloo is
Okay.
actually unhurt.
Okay, cool. Well, I think he's kind of hurt, or this thing's kind of hurt. So I just have the urge to like throw up. Like there's something happening, and I don't know what's going on. I'm just like, and I just like enter a rage, but like a.
It's like you cannot help yourself.
Yeah. Like this is
Yeah.
the first time she's ever experienced a rage because she's never had to do this before.
Nice.
So there's just something that just takes over her, and just like fire in her eyes. She like takes out her great axe, and then she just attacks the closest one or whoever's attacking Baloo.
That was the first one that they started fighting. So, yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. Then I am going to roll because that's what we do. Oh, I
That
don't
is
roll.
what we do.
That's a 6.
Oh no, that's.
I didn't say recklessly attack, right?
You can if you wish. I mean, like that you could at recklessly attack, right? This is the
Yeah.
first session. We're still working
Yeah.
out the details.
Yeah. Okay. I'll recklessly attack, so that means I have advantage.
Yes.
21.
21 hits.
Cool. So then, gonna take out. Oh no, all my dice. Okay. So then he's going to take to 14, 15, 16 damage.
Right.
Nice.
So how do you kill this guy? Because you kind of come up behind him without, he's got his back to you, worked yourself into this kind of nervous frenzy.
Yeah.
And how's
So
it go
just
down?
right after, I just feel something. I am not myself, and I just kind of whack him right on the back of his head, and I just like put my foot on his back, and I just like, and I just don't know what happened.
With a great axe?
With a yeah.
So Baloo, you're fighting this guy, right? And you see out of the sand, Ellie's running at your opponent, and just in a split second before you can really react, this guy just keels over dead with a big axe sticking out of the back of his head, and Ellie's like put her foot on the back of it and rip it out.
And like the look in her eye, I'm sure, is just priceless.
Right.
Scary. Yeah.
Is that all your actions for Ellie?
Yes, because I didn't go into a frenzy.
Right, gotcha.
Not yet.
Baloo, it's your turn.
Baloo takes a half second to be like, okay, this is new. And he makes sure to make eye contact with this new crazy person that he's seeing, almost like a different person.
Mm-hmm.
But then, again, in a sign, he knows animals, so in a sign of I don't want to get hit by this thing, he looks away, then looks back, and then looks for his next target.
Okay.
So.
The sand has started to die down a bit, and visibility now is more like 20 feet or so.
Mm-hmm.
The wall of it has started to wash over Tradetown. You can see your other allies, I guess, your other fellow combatants, short distance away, fighting another one of these warriors who is pinned to the ground by grasping thorny vines.
So they're just beating him on the ground.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. And that's all we see?
That's all you see right now. You can make out other forms, other pairs of flying vessels through the sand. And I mean, if all you do this round is like take stock of the situation, I can give you a better feel for what's going on.
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So looking around and kind of like getting a breather, you can see that multiple pairs of these things are flying through, and it looks like they're headed almost entirely towards Tradetown. Some of them are flying wide, kind of around the city, whereas others are making their way directly towards it. At the moment, none of them seem like they're have either noticed you, or whatever first wave has come through has sort of passed you by. But you don't see any other enemies in your immediate vicinity.
Okay. That's cool. And that's all I'll do, really.
Okay. There we go. Icky, it's your turn.
Ha! Got it. First time. Well, yeah, I'm gonna keep going at this guy with my sickles. So, feeling great.
He's trapped. Can't do anything.
Feeling great about that. It's the best. Unless I screw this up. 13 again. And I did screw it up.
I mean, they are wearing some fairly tough armor, right?
They are. She's just like wildly like.
What about, is Skitterstep doing anything?
No. Skitterstep is hiding inside of the harness because he's chicken shit.
Gotcha. Good to know. Gildan.
Is the hag puppet beating on dead, or looks like he's still moving?
It's pretty close to it. It's pinned to the ground, has been smashed up a couple times, and is not writhing as vigorously as before.
All right, the hag puppet drops another attack for 22 to hit.
22 hits.
And damage is 11.
Nice. Yeah, so your hag puppet spiritual weapon kind of beats this thing into a pulp. And Icky, you're up close and you can hear it squish inside its armored skin as this spiritual weapon crashes down on it.
Delicious.
And does that essentially finish him off?
Yes, it does.
All right, so then I'm going to move up to him since I was about 30 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
I want to cast Spare the Dying on him as a cantrip and start
Nice.
tying him up.
Nice.
Hag style.
So
Hagtide.
Hagtide. Gildan rushes out of his hiding spot, preventing the warrior from dying, and begins. I mean, you can even use the vines from the ensnaring strike to start
nice.
wrapping him up in it. And as you're tying him up, the warrior seems unconscious, or at the very least disoriented enough that's not putting up any resistance. You two can see this sort of wall of dust and sand as it hits Tradetown, and the obscure, as obscure as sort of the action that's going on, but you can also see many more of these pairs of flying vehicles as they dart in and about the streets of Tradetown and go wide, look like maybe heading for the villages beyond. And our viewers and players will have to tune in next week to see exactly what happens.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun dun dun. Always with a cliffhanger.
Always.
That's great. I love a good first session, even though sometimes it takes a minute to stretch out the legs and get a feel for the characters and the setting. There's something fresh and exciting about a new game with new players, and I hope everybody enjoyed the game and join us every week and on Tuesdays for Starward Bound. Let's go through and talk to the players one last time, get to know them, and where else we can find them online in various parts of the interwebs. Let's go reverse order and start with Lindy.
Well, that was a ton of fun. I am so excited to see where this campaign goes. So happy to be here. I'm already hyped for next week. I want to know more about what this thing is, what's going on. I got stuff to do, There's a very busy woman.
Right, disrupting your business.
It's very disruptive to business. How dare they? I got money to make, people to woo. It's a thing. But you can find me online at Laugh Love Lindy. I do on my own stream Dungeons and Dragons, video games, and some cosplay work. You can find me on Wednesdays with J. Pruitt Inc. as well. J. Pruitt on Encounter Roleplay, playing some Call of Cthulhu. Tuesdays is when I do D&D on my channel. Also, a Cthulhu podcast called Tomes and Tentacles is released on Tuesdays. Busy day. Yeah, and here every Thursday for this amazing new campaign that I am so happy to be a part in. Yeah, that's me.
Awesome. And that Tomes and Tentacles is really fun as well.
It's so much fun.
I'm about halfway through the latest episode.
Yeah, I play a creepy mortician girl. It's great. It's great.
Oh yeah.
Grant.
I had an enormous amount of fun. I'm still figuring out who my character is. I like to do that the first session, come in with a lot of blank spaces in the personality and idea, but I really love the setting. I love post-apocalyptic settings. Your brother Josh is a hoot to play with. I love that I got to sling dice with some good friends again. And Jim, you're a wonderful dungeon master.
Thank you.
Now, for you fans in chat of this show, if you want to follow me on other channels, on Friday nights, I run the Dungeons & Dragons World Series on Exploding Dice. On Saturdays, I host a show on Encounter Roleplay's YouTube channel called The Story Forge, which is all about world building for your tabletop role-playing games. Starting April 8th, I will be on Monty Cook Games' Cypher System show. Mondays, I'm on the Greyhawk channel with Classic Crawls. Tuesdays, I'm on Mython with Unmade Gaming. And Wednesdays, I run D&D open mic nights. 7 days a week.
There you go. Anna, how'd you find the session, and where can we find you online?
I had loads of fun. I think playing a character that doesn't know anything is kind of fun, especially if it's a new campaign.
Yeah.
It makes it a little bit easier. But I think it's going to be very interesting to see where Ellie goes and what trouble she gets into.
I really like that there's a human. It's one of those moments where you tell everybody, like, okay, guys, all the usual stuff is out. Make some weirdos, make whatever you want. And like having to like find a place for where a human could fit in is going to be a fun challenge. And I really like the inclusion of it. Good choice.
Yeah, definitely.
So where can we find you online?
So you guys can find me on Twitch as Cyborg Pizza. I stream a lot of indie games, a lot of Overwatch, Skyrim, just a bunch of everything. And also on Encounter Roleplay on Thursdays at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And also, I make D&D pins like this. We are working on shipping, internationally, so bear with us. And last but not least, I'm part of a all-ladies 5e Dungeons & Dragons actual play podcast called Wonder Quest. And it's lots of fun, and we just released a Patreon. So, and there's a video of me kicking butt, my best friend and my other friend that my friend Travis filmed. And it's really fun.
I saw it. It was really fun. It looked like a lot of fun to shoot.
Oh yeah, definitely. Kicking my best friend's butt.
Come on. Josh, brother. And for the audience, Josh is my brother, and we've
Hi.
So we are related, in fact.
Mm-hmm. It's true. We've been playing all of our lives.
All of our lives, sure.
You can find me on Twitter at Beard for Charity, but also at Other Nerd. It's kind of my side project that I'm still building up, still working on. I have a Discord channel there. You can also join if you want to just chat. I don't really stream, at least not yet, so you can't find me doing anything fancy. But if anybody wants to stream with me, I'm here.
You're available?
I am available, yeah. I'm also working on setting up some art commissions, so if you go to my page and you see some of my art and you like it, reach out to me.
Awesome. And TK.
I'm TK, and I'm like one of the two people here who don't stream. I'm a writer. I write Southern Gothic, American horror, a very like Lovecraftian, Children of the Corn vibe to all my stuff. If you want to read any of that, I'll have a piece in the Waffle Zine, the Dice Camera Zine that they're doing headed up by Scarlet Moth. If you want essays and stuff that are less horror, you can check me out on Lisa Chen's Behold Her podcast, which is dope as hell. Mm-hmm. Opens up the platform not only for female identifying people, but also for non-binary people, which I am. So it was really cool to have a platform that was all inclusive like that. Nice. If you want to read any of my fiction, you can check me out on Facebook because I'm too inept to own a website yet.
Websites are passe.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. But yeah, and my Facebook is under TK Johnson. You can just look for the page. Awesome. And it's all spooky candle people and horrible crow people and
nice
vaguely cloaked political stuff about being Black in America.
Nice.
So.
That Behold Her podcast was very good. That first episode was top notch. I really am excited to see where this campaign goes, and want to. I'm those of you who maybe watched some of my DMing on Saber Dice. This may be a bit more laid back than that campaign, more to my style. So I hope you guys join us every week and see how this game unfolds and where this, I think, maybe cutthroat band of adventurers is certainly a bit shady and a bit I don't know, nefarious. I don't know. I don't want to speak too soon, but I'm excited to see where it goes. Let's give a big hand to our behind the scenes guy, Brandon at War Eagle Keep, who keeps the stream running, helps us out, all of the audio, the pictures. He's there, our silent player, ever watchful and helping us bring this to you guys. That's all I got, and we'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to join us on Tuesday for Starward Bound, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye.